Vice, can you just introduce yourself, please?
My name is Daniel Molokele, also known as Fortune. I come from Hwange in Zimbabwe. I was born at the Hwange College Hospital there, and I grew up in Hwange. Educated from grade 1 to grade 7 at Ignatius Primary School. So I'm what they call Bono Hwange. But since then I went to secondary school, high school in other towns, university in Harare, and lived in Bulawayo. And for the past 12 years I've lived in South Africa. At the moment I'm in Johannesburg.
Daniel Molokele is known very wide in the social, civic society sphere. Why a U-turn now to becoming a politician?
I think I've always been a politician. People who know me first know that at University of Zimbabwe in Harare, I'm one of the former student leaders with people like Len Mojonge, the late, people like Job Scala, Davaza Msekiwa. So I'm a former president at the University of Zimbabwe and former vice president of SINASU. So after university I decided not to go to parliament, but I could have gone to parliament in 2000. I thought I was too young, but I was asked specifically by the MDC to be member of parliament. So I believe now I've reached a stage where I can go back to active party politics, and that's why I've decided to go back home and I'll contest in my hometown.
Was there a trigger moment for you? Something that you can say, this is what made me to say, now let me go into politics?
I think at the end of last year I told myself that I will not participate in the 2018 elections, but I would want to participate in the 2023 election. I even switched off my Facebook account to avoid 2018 election in December last year. But I was offline from Facebook for about 4 months until end of March, when I was hosting an international conference on HIV prevention in Vic Falls. I took an extra day to go to Hwange, and in Hwange there, visiting my hometown, seeing the places. I visited my primary school, the homes that I stayed as a child. Everything looked dilapidated. I went to the grave, to the cemetery to see my father's grave. And it was when I was visiting my father's grave that I met my headmaster from my primary school, Mr. Chuma, and he's the one who challenged me together with other elders, Mr. Chiro and so on. They said, whatever you are doing, please come back home and campaign to be our new member of parliament. So after that experience, it was the last Saturday of March, I then started to, I also had young people coming, youth, during that visit saying you should consider being an MP. So I went back to Johannesburg, I spoke to my family, spoke to my friends, and everyone said it looks like I should consider it seriously. So in April I went back to Hwange, attended some public meetings, consulted with a few people, and I realized that there was enough support. So since April I made the decision that I'm going to contest to be member of parliament.
Why on an MDC ticket? Have you always been MDC, or this is a decision you made in March?
Everyone knows that the MDC is a coalition. If you go back to its origins, even including the days of the National Constitutional Assembly, you will see my name there. I was one of the student leaders who helped to set up and administer the NCA, and then afterwards, in 1998-99, I was one of the student leaders who helped to set up the MDC. So I'm a founding member of the MDC in a way. And in 2000, they had requested me to stand to be a member of parliament. So when I looked around in the political landscape, and also with advice from people in Hwange, I was told that the best party to make sure that I return to active politics is the MDC. So I've also gone out of my way. I think it was in June I traveled to Harare and I met the top leaders, including Deputy President Mzuri, Deputy President Chamisa, and I also met the president himself. I had a one-on-one meeting in June with President Tsvangirai, and I told him of my decision. And he said, if the people of Hwange support me, the party will support me. So it was up to me to get support from the people of Hwange. So after my meeting with Tsvangirai, I went back to Hwange, and I've managed to speak to various people, especially in the party. And I can safely say that I have support from some of the leading wards in Hwange. I don't want to mention the words, but if you go to Hwange today, you will know that I have support in some of the words. So I'm ready to be a candidate first for the MDC in terms of the primary elections, if they are necessary, and then afterwards next year to contest against other parties like ZANU-PF.
So your critics that say you are little known there because you have spent most time in diaspora, that's not true?
I think it's not true because my father got from Kone was a well-known person in Hwange. He was a trade unionist. My family, they are well-known in Hwange. My elder brothers, they in Hwange. We're a very known family in Hwange, and I'm known as a person. In spite of all the things that I've done, people always, and I always remind myself that I'm from Hwange. So you can go to Geneva, I've been to Geneva, you can go to Cape Town, you can go to Johannesburg, you can go to Harare, you can go to Bulawayo, everyone knows me. But the first and important principle is that charity begins at home. So if I have an opportunity to help Hwange fight back from the situation where it is in today, because everyone knows the Hwange that I see today is not the Hwange that I grew up in. So I want Hwange to stop having this narrative of nostalgia to say we have seen the good old days, but we want Hwange to fight back and move to a better days. So we need to change the narrative to say there are better days for Hwange, and I've started working on a vision to transfer Hwange from being dependent on the coal mine to just like Johannesburg. Johannesburg is no longer dependent on gold, so we need to evolve Hwange beyond the coal and have a new Hwange, a new future for Hwange. So I'm happy to be back home, where I come from, where I grew up, and to be among my own people and to fight with them for a new Hwange.
Helping Hwange to fight back, let's go deep into the roots, into the people on the ground. What are the issues that are there?
Hwange Colliery or Hwange Colliery is the reason why there is a town at the moment. It's what you call a concession area. So you'll find that everything, the economy revolves around the coal. So there's a power station, there are service companies, contractors, companies. There's a Hwange local board administering like Mpumalanga and so on. But most of the town is under the company. So you've got townships under the company, like number 1 colliery where I grew up, number 2 colliery, you've got number 5, you've got number 1 north, you've got number 3 colliery. So that's the bulk of the town. And because the company is going through problems, a lot of workers have not been paid. Even those who are paid is a friction of their salaries. Not only that, benefits have been lost, like medical benefits for your parents. They're not there. The standards of living have fallen down, like the hospitals, the education. Sanitation, if you look at the kind of toilets and bathrooms, public toilets for that matter, that people are using, people's dignity have been taken away. Unemployment is very high. Our youths have no future at the moment. There is no plan to deal with those issues. Not only that, you'll find that the economy in general, there is no clarity to say what is the development strategy. And that's where I'm trying to get in, to use my job experience to say, let's look at tourism, let's look at education, let's look at health, let's develop a service industry for Hwange and stop our dependence on coal and start to move forward as a town.
Obviously, MDC have got a person who stands there now. What is your campaign strategy? How do you see yourself getting
So
up
the
there?
truth is that the MP is from my party, and so as democracy goes, I will need to challenge him, and if necessary, we'll have primary elections. I think as a member of parliament, it is his responsibility to decide whether he wants to stand again or not. But on my side, I will allow the democratic process of the MDC, and if the party decides to keep him, I'll support him. If the party decides to replace him, I hope he can be able to support me, because the party is bigger than all of us. But even more importantly, the town of Hwange is bigger than the party itself. So we need to agree on a leadership, and then once that leadership is agreed on, we work together. If you look at the account, we've opened a bank account here in Johannesburg, and when we asked what kind of bank account are we going to open, I said, let's start an organization, and we set up an organization called Hwange Development Association. And we are saying beyond the elections, let's ask the people from Hwange who are in Johannesburg, who are in South Africa, the people of Hwange who are in the diaspora, to work with those in Hwange to start to support the situation at home. So for me, the real issue is not elections. The real issue is not the politics. The real issue is the future of Hwange. So my most important word is development. I want to see Hwange move forward beyond political parties, beyond elections. We want to defend Hwange's future and create a new tomorrow for Hwange. So development is the real issue.
One complaint that we've had, currently there's a registration process that is taking place, and we've heard that there's a lot of apathy from people in Matabeleland. How do you make sure that your people register to vote?
Of course, everyone knows that there's a 3-month period for registration, so we are Africans, so we start slow, but I'm sure a lot of people will vote. But as you know, this past week, the MDC Alliance has agreed to set up structures to help mobilize people. So we are going to work together as an MDC Alliance at what level, at district level, at provincial level, to mobilize people to vote. And we also want to appeal to civil society to help us if there are any bottlenecks to the registration. We know that there are requirements that are needed. Let's work with the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission to make it easier for people to register, but also to have awareness campaigns. So we want the NGOs, the civil society, to work with the political parties to explain to people and mobilize people to go and register. But I'm very confident. I'm also going to be registering soon, and we'll use that occasion to appeal to more people to follow my lead and also go and register. So I'm also going to be part of a voter registration mobilization plan.
As we round down, why should the people of Hwange vote for you as a person?
I think the people of Hwange should vote for me because I love Hwange, not because it's an opportunity to be a member of parliament. I love Hwange because it is who I am. Wherever I go, people always know that I'm from Hwange. So it is who I am. So the situation in which Hwange is in, I am emotionally connected in. I want to see a new Hwange and a future that is better than what we see today. So you are voting for someone who's got a lot of experience as a leader for 20 years, starting from University in Harare, with international connections, with national connections. Doesn't need introductions. There's a lot of experience with civil society, human rights, everything, development. Right now I'm doing an MBA with African Leadership University. I want to improve my ability to understand business because I want to have a new economy for Hwange. So if you are voting for me, you are voting for development, you are voting for a new Hwange.
Are you going to be an MP always on the plane, or you are ready to relocate?
Yes, as you can see, my family has started to adjust to the new reality. We have just sold our house and bought a new house close to the school here in Johannesburg to allow a situation, because I'm the one who's been taking my daughter to school. So she's now adapted to a life that I'm no longer going to be there. And I now have a new home in Hwange, my elder sister's home in Hwange and so on. So I'll be mostly in Hwange and in Harare for the parliament, but also visiting Joburg and also allowing the family in Joburg. They are remaining here in South Africa, but I will be based in Hwange and Harare most of the time. So they will be visiting me and I'll be visiting them. So as a family, we've started to prepare ourselves for this new setup, and it's a very big sacrifice for the family, but we know that is for the greater good. For many people in the diaspora, I need you to understand that I was at church the other day and the pastor said to me, you are in a Nehemiah season where Nehemiah leaves Babylon and goes back to Jerusalem to help to rebuild the wall. And so we're saying to all the Zimbabweans in the diaspora, look your village of origin, look your town, your high school, your primary school. Find a way to support where you come from. And wherever you are, maybe you're in South Africa, you're in Zambia, you're in Germany, you're in America, in UK, in New Zealand. Find a way to support people back at home. And if it's necessary, go back home and do something about it. It's not enough for us to complain while in the diaspora. Let's take decisions that may not be easy for us to make sure that there's a new Zimbabwe. Change will only happen if we start to take choices that are hard. And I've taken that choice to return to Hwange and to fight with people on the ground there, to end the suffering that is happening right now, and to bring in my international networks to help Hwange move forward.